Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm not even sure what day it is. I think it's Thursday. It is the 22nd, 21st. I don't know. I'm getting confused. I had a very busy morning. But I hope everybody's doing well. I want to talk about what it's like being a targeted person and how a city or town or county deliberately falsifies information, tax information, steals your documents to verify the things that you have already addressed. But before I do, please hit the thumbs up and listen to this to the ends. I heard another YouTube creator saying that it really does help the channel grow, not only when you hit the thumbs up and comment, but if you listen to the video to the end. Because there's usually like maybe a 30-second commercial that's in between. I mean, even if you listen to the entire commercial, it really does help, since we are monetized, and I don't want to ask you guys for money, but it does help if you listen to the entire video. But anyway, so I'm going to back up. For those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Those of you who have been here, welcome back. Well, last year, usually in October, we receive our tax bills. And for people that own property, and I'm sure if you rent, you receive renewals. You know, you receive something to renew your lease. Well, we receive a tax bill when you own property, and it's an annual thing. Now, I'm going to be here 5 years, so each year I've received 2 tax bills because it's a big property, and I believe that's the way the former owner had it set up. He lived in one portion of the property, and then there was another portion that he didn't live on. That was just my assumption, because nobody ever clarified why I received 2 tax bills. I just continued to pay for them. So this past October, I only received 1 of my 2 tax bills. When a couple of weeks went by that I didn't receive the second one, I called the PVA office and I told them that I didn't receive my tax bill, my second tax bill. They looked it up and everything, and they said that they sent it to a different address. Actually, an address that does not exist. Now, why would they do that? It's the same name. I haven't changed my name, haven't changed my address. Why would somebody send my larger tax bill to an unknown address? And actually, they never received that bill back. Like, you know, when you mail something and it's undeliverable, it usually gets returned to sender. Well, that hasn't happened yet. And it hasn't happened yet with a bank statement that I was supposed to receive back in January. That's a whole nother topic. So back in October, I call and I said I didn't receive it. They tell me the address that they sent it to. I said that address doesn't exist. So they said that they could wait to see if they got the bill back. They never did. And I assumed that they were going to send me a new one. They never did. I probably called their office 4, 5, maybe even 6 times until I was able to address the issue. And the reason is because in July, I turned 65. And the way it works is if you have 10 acres of land or more, they consider it a homestead or a farm. They have their different terminology, but it has to be 10 acres or more. And you turn 65, and then you get exonerated from paying your taxes. So even though they divided up my property with 2 separate tax bills, each of them more than 10 acres on each tax bill, when I went to their office, I was told that I was exonerated. They gave me sheets of paper to give to the sheriff's department. Now you have to understand, it's very bizarre here, the way payment works. The sheriff's department is where you pay your taxes. Don't ask me why. That's bizarre to me. But yes, so the sheriff's department is where you pay your property taxes. So not only did I call the PVA office multiple times about the fact that I never received my second tax bill. Here comes a stalker. That I didn't receive my tax bill, waiting for them to resend it, and then to find out that they never did send it. So October comes and goes, November comes and goes, and I'm waiting. And I called the sheriff's department during this time too. I wanted to give them a heads up that I did not receive my tax bill. I also gave them a heads up that I was turning 65 and that I would be exonerated from paying taxes anyway. So finally in December 14 to be exact, I go into the PVA office to get the pieces of paper to give to the sheriff's department to tell them that I am exonerated from paying property taxes. I specifically asked them if it was for both of the taxes. I have 2 tax bills, and it was yes. When I get to the sheriff's department in the same day, minutes later, because they're close by within walking distance, I go into the sheriff's department to pay, to give them my exoneration forms and stuff. They tell me that they had a copy of the tax bill that I never received. So they were nice enough to print out the tax bill that I never received, and then it was exonerated. I already had a copy of the smaller tax bill, and I brought that one into the sheriff's department too. So along with both of them, I asked, do I have to pay any taxes on either of these? And they said, no, you're exonerated. And I had an exonerated form that I gave to the sheriff's department, and I received a copy of that back. Evidently, that copy was stolen from my house. It was stolen from the folder that I keep all of my tax information in. And instead of it being there, the criminals took my internet bills and stuck my internet bills in place of my taxes. So the reason I'm mentioning this is because I left there December 14, the sheriff's department, and I'm sure that other police officer who was sitting there, the dog handler, was sitting there glaring at me. And I left there not having to pay any taxes. I came home, put my files away in with my tax files, and there we go. Today, I get a delinquent notice from the sheriff's department for the smaller bill, the smaller one, saying that I am past due and that I'm delinquent, and then they placed all these delinquency charges on top of it. So I called them up and I told them that I was in their office and I didn't have to pay the taxes. And they said, well, that was only for one of your invoices. I said, no, it was for both, because I came into your office and I came in to pay my invoices, and you guys told me I had no taxes to pay based upon the exoneration. And I provided them the smaller bill, which they handed back to me, and then they printed out the larger bill, and I was exonerated. I did not have to pay anything on December 14, 2023. I called the PVA office and explained to them that I received a delinquency notice. They look it up and they say, oh no, that was only from one of them. I said, well, that's not what you told me when I was there. And then I said, I already called the sheriff's department and they're sending me a delinquency notice. And then they said, well, you're not delinquent until after April 15. I said, well, the point is, I'm receiving a notification, an invoice, to pay taxes that I've been exonerated for. that I was in their office, and if I had anything due, I would have paid it on December 14. So I'm talking to the woman. I'm getting upset. I said, I've called your office so many times on this issue. First, my invoice was sent to the wrong address. Then I never received an invoice. I never received a copy of it. I've called your office so many times. So then this guy gets on the phone. He says, well, you don't have to be so hateful. You're acting hateful. And he says, I can do you a favor. Listen to this. I can do you a favor and put the two tax bills together, but it won't be for last year. You'll have to pay that tax bill. But I can do it for this coming year. And I'm thinking, do me a favor? Isn't it your job? You're doing me a favor. And I'm not being hateful. I'm upset, and rightfully so. Please make the distinction between an upset customer and somebody that's being hateful. You don't know what hateful is yet, honey. You don't know when I'm hateful. Trust me, you don't want to know when I'm hateful. So that's the deal. There is a portion of this tax bill that I'm now forced to pay based upon total incompetence and corruption. I firmly believe that my tax invoice, the original one, was deliberately sent to an unknown address. They were hoping, a lot of people forget that they have to pay taxes, and they don't. Then they get screwed. And see, the narrative around here with these stupid criminals, my neighbors, is, oh, she doesn't pay people. They have the audacity to tell people to not work here because I don't pay them. Yeah. So they deliberately sent my tax invoice to an unknown address and never sent me another one. I go to pay the taxes. I'm supposedly exonerated. And then all these months later, I receive an invoice that I'm delinquent on my taxes from the sheriff's department. Is that amazing? So I have got a low battery here. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. I apologize for the rant, but if this has ever happened to you, please let me know. Let me know if this has happened to you. Have you paid rents and then been told that you didn't pay your rent? Have people stolen your documents to prove that you paid your rent? And for people that own property who pay taxes, has this happened to you? I'm really curious to hear what you have to say. And yes, this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. Please hit the thumbs up. It's actually a little bit colder here than I expected. I'm outside with my sweatshirt, so I'm going to go back in the house, and I'm going to sign off for now.